it could be the St. Lucia Labour Party would do that through the St. Lucia Labour Party supporters. And the United Workers' Party come across to the St. Lucia Labour Party supporters. I would not support that.
Okay, caller, thank you so much. But so many politicians have betrayed supporters and political parties. I mean, really cannot count. Once again, we continue to take your calls. We have another call. Good evening, NewsMaker Live. You're on the air. Hello.
Hi. Good
evening to you, sir.
Yes. So, on the passing of Sir Neville, I would just like to say condolences from, the people of Benue South, And at the end of the day, I think the Labour Party will tell you that, the United Workers' Party put a lot of division in the country. But it really started with this man, that he did the honorable thing and he went to the United Workers' Party. And, the St. Lucia Labour Party...
Caller, you say honorable thing, but people did not...
Honorable thing.
No, caller. People did not see it that way because what people are saying... If you're elected on one ticket in 1987, the first election, and Dominic is chuckling, and the first election, I think it was April the 7th, that's the first election. You won, okay. Then the second election, April the 30th, you go there, you still win, and then you just change course, go on to the side of the United Workers' Party. I think it even came as a surprise to the SLP MPs at the time, who saw him walking across, going to the side of the UDP. They could not believe that.
You forget the election before the last, where the famous former Prime Minister Stephenson King came on stage and said, "I'm not switching, I'm not this." And then the man already had his containers with blue shirts. This is politics.
Well, he contested as an independent. Politics. He contested as an independent.
Wow.
He contested as independent, then he moved on.
An independent Labour Party team. All of this was already put together. This was already decided behind back doors. And at the end of the day, the people made their decision, and it did not involve the constituents. He did not come forth to the constituents. He did not come forth to the party. And this is politics. These things happen. Yes, he should have probably come to the people of Labrie and had that firm discussion with them. But that's something that a lot of politicians don't do in this country. They don't come to you, the people. They come to you every 5 years. This is the only time you're important. And we have made that a status quo in this country that, and the way our system is set up, you could have no checks on those politicians. You don't have no midterms like the United States. They have midterms, they have different checks and balances. So Russia does not have that. At the end of the 5 years, everybody want to come to you and do crocodile tears. But while they drive in the elections and all these different things, they don't know you, the people who put them there, or one of the boys and girls. You're not favored. So at the end of the day, it may be something that we may have to correct in this country by putting checks and balances. But that is politics. So Mr. Neville just did something that was probably advanced at the time. It was not known at the time, but it is something that has happened. A lot of things happen in this country behind closed doors.
Okay,
so,
call up.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for calling. I think it was one lead. I don't know. I don't think maybe it was Mia Motley, Prime Minister Mia Motley, spoke about enacting legislation so that if you contest elections on one ticket, you cannot automatically change allegiance without going back to the people. But we'll discuss that in a moment. Good evening, NewsMaker Live, you're on the air.
Yeah, good night.
Hi, good evening to you, caller.
To Fedee, you said something I kind of disagree, you said that Mr. Snap something good about United Workers.
Caller, I think you're breaking up.
I can't hear him. Yeah,
you're breaking up a bit. Can you repeat, caller?
Yeah, I say I disagree with Mr. Fedee made. Mr. Snap saw something good about United.
Oh, you saw something good in the UWP, right?
Right, but I was wrong at the time, and I believe that Mr. Snap did this for 30 pieces of silver. This is and that's why people didn't trust him, and they did, up to this moment. That's my take on this.
All right, thank you so much. I broke up a bit there, but you were saying that Mr. Stank basically did this for 30 pieces of silver, a form of betrayal, according to him.
This is 40 years ago.
Yeah.
40 years ago. And I think that we ought to be a better people than that. You can't be holding a grudge for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's, it's incomprehensible to me.
You have a call.
Yeah.
Good evening, NewsMaker Live, you're on the air.
Good evening, Tim.
Hi, good evening to you, caller.
I'm sorry to hear of the death of Mr. Snack. I am condolences to his family. Timothy, I remember what took place in 79 and thereafter. And that has happened how many years ago? 40-something years ago.
Yeah, about 39 years.
Right, 39 years. I am from Castries North. And something very close to that occurred with the person who's representing Castries North at the time. And when he decided not to go up, and with all of the nonsense that was going on, I got very angry. I really got angry about it. But I have forgiven him for what he's doing because he's human just like me. However, I may not vote him, but I have forgiven him. But to keep a grudge all of those years, and you are now telling people, come together, we need to build a country together. When will we ever build a country if we don't forgive? So are you telling me that the Labour Party will not attend the gentleman's funeral, a state funeral? No, man, no. We have to let's get out of that gutter and climb. Come on. We used to be like that before, not again. Let's change the way we think, because we're now talking about getting our people together. Right now, if you have a yellow bag, you Flabo. If you have a red bag, you Labour. No, these colors belong to God. That doesn't belong to the Flabo or Labour. And so we need to change our ways. Solutions, change that. Change it. So if somebody is a Flabo and the person fall, you not pick them up. And if the person is a Labour, you're not going to pick them up. When will we change the way we think?
Okay, caller.
Anyway, have a good evening.
You too.
I agree with what she has said 100%. I can't imagine holding a grudge for 40 years, Tim. Wow. Even at the person's death, you're still angry. It really is unacceptable. I think it's a bad example we're setting for young people looking at the show. If we're going to say to them, look, deal with your problems in a more mature and civil manner, it really is not the right attitude. I think whatever has happened. I can't tell people how to live their lives, but this is my opinion. 40 years, it's gone, it's history.
You have a call. Good evening to you, NewsMaker Live, you're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Poleon.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good night to Mr. Dominic Fedee.
Good night, sir.
I am just wondering what gives the impression that in the man's death that there is still a grudge when the news told us that there has been discussion with his family about giving him a state funeral. What is the grudge about this?
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm speaking in the context of some of the callers who have called here tonight and expressed that they are still very aggrieved by what has happened, and that's where we are. But I can tell you, caller, without any fear or favor, that I sat in Parliament for 5 years and I watched the now Prime Minister walk out every time Sir Neville came to speak. So I know what I'm saying. And the facts are there. Go back and look at the tapes. The tapes are very clear. All 6 of the opposition members walked out every single throne speech that Sir Neville has delivered in the House of Assembly. And that was while I served.
We continue with your calls once again. Questions and comments for my guest, Deputy Political Leader of the Opposition, UWP, Mr. Dominic Fedee. Yeah. The civility that is required for politics, so that that could be translated into the wider St. Lucian society, where people can be, yes, disagree on certain issues, but nonetheless, they can be very civil about it. This definitely is lacking in St. Lucia. I'm just wondering what we can do going forward to ensure that this does not become the norm. I think we have another call. Good evening, NewsMaker Live, you on the air?
I'm sorry, I got disconnected. I don't know.
Yes,
what,
go ahead, caller.
Oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
please.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I thought you were done. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry about that. I
Yeah.
didn't realize you were still
I
speaking.
wanted to,
But
yeah,
I'm glad
I
that you're
was
back
speaking.
because I think that, caller, there are times people do things for political expediency. I think that it wasn't so long ago that every single, at least 5 of them now are still in cabinet, and they all walked out. And it would be interesting to hear from them whether they have a change of heart. Unlike the lady who called from Castries North did ask, are they going to attend the funeral? Or is this just dutifully doing an official ceremony that has to happen? So I think that we have to make the distinction between the two. I would love to hear from at least the 5 that are now in the cabinet, whether
But I want to
they
ask-
have
Hold
a
on, caller,
change of
please.
heart,
Hold on now.
whether they have a
Yeah.
change of heart, and that should be expressed publicly. I think it's important for the political records of our country to ensure that this is not just a political gimmick, but this is a real letting go, forgiving of the situation. Because I do believe, caller, that there ought to be some level of bigness. I think we have to rise above the moment when someone has died. Don't tell me that because you and I would have had some issues historically that you're going to wish my death upon me or you're going to be happy that I have passed. That really is just too toxic.
Let's listen to the caller now.
Yeah,
Go ahead, caller.
Sorry, caller.
Okay, I just wanted to ask Mr. Fedee
Sure.
that every single time Mr. Frederick has gotten up to speak, Mr. Alan Shastney has walked out of Parliament. Is that a hit?
No.
Is that a clear indication that he hates Mr. Frederick?
So, and a very good question. I think that if you follow very carefully, Mr. Frederick is abusive, he is offensive.
No.
and he's
Listen to me.
disrespectful.
Let me.
Caller,
No, I'm telling
you
you
asked a
asked me a
question
I'm
and he's
answering
answering. Okay, caller.
Abusive, disrespectful. In fact, in any serious country, caller, he would not qualify as a talk show host. Only in St. Lucia, such garbage would be allowed on the public broadcast. And I'm very sorry, I have to put it to you. That's really, I mean, if you're going to go there, then, your standards are very low. I'm sorry for, it's not a personal attack, but use someone else, not Richard Frederick.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
No. Mr. Dominic Fedee has to understand that you being the leader of the opposition, having gone up on a Labour Party ticket and then crossed the floor, it is something that the party is going to hurt the party. And they not attending the front speech does not mean that they hit the guy. It means, for me, that I would stand on that principle. You understand me? Because you actually crossed the floor. And I heard you, Mr. Dominic Fedee, referring to Mr. Stevenson, who went up on I have heard you, and if we can go through the tips, and you have not referred to him very well, neither Mr. Richard Frederick, who went up on independent tickets and who were afforded an opportunity to be ministers. So why can't they be ministers? And Mr. Snack could have crossed the floor. I think that is double standard. I think that is double standard.
Double standard.
And if Mr. Shastney can walk out of Parliament each time Mr. Frederick stands up to speak, and it is not hit, then if the Labour Party never attended a phone speech, it is not hit either. Have a very good night.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you for calling. Stevenson King. I sat in cabinet with Stevenson King. I have forgiven Stevenson King. I don't hate Stevenson King. In fact, if Stevenson King were the Governor General and he and I were a parliamentarian, I'll sit through the throne speech because that's the kind of man I am. So I think that there's no place for that. It's wrong on every count. And it's not like they refuse to attend. They attend the joint sitting of the Parliament when the Senate and the MPs actually have the swearing in. And then they have walked out every single time. Walked out. They have just made it known They are disgust for him. So which is why I have difficulty. I mean, look, I'm not gonna, I'm really passionate about this one. And so this is why, Tim, I've watched them do it every time. And every year, you can predict what they're going to do.
You have a call. Good evening, NewsMaker Live, you're on the air. Hello? Okay, that's that call. Let's see if we have another call coming in once again for my guest, Mr. Dominic Fedee. Good evening, NewsMaker Live, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello, good evening, Timothy. How are you?
I'm okay, sir. How about you?
I'm keeping well, thanks.
Yes. Good evening to you.
Good evening. A couple quick points for your guest, Mr. Fedee. I think it's clear that every single person living in St. Lucia and any democracy has a right to switch allegiance. I mean, people change religion from Catholic to Adventist to Pentecostal, Church of God, what have you. People switch political alliances, red, yellow, green, blue. I don't think that's the issue. And to make it like all of these switches the same, I think would be at least at best disingenuous. Right? The issue with Mr. Snack, as previous callers have well articulated, is that he won the mandate on one color. He went up on two successive occasions, Timothy, I think you pointed that out, and then switched allegiances, basically betraying the votes that he had garnered under the banner of one party and brought it to another party, betraying the trust, the votes rather, I won't even say the trust, the votes of the person, right? Stevenson King obviously was a fundamentally different proposition, and I think Mr. Fedee well knows that. He switched, much to the chagrin of his party, Fedee's party, and they had an opportunity to say to the voters, reject him because he's no longer loyal to us, and vote for whoever it was Assembly, the daughter, granddaughter of a party stalwart, a big name in the party, Girodi, no less. And he still won a massive mandate, and he won again. So the will of the people, the sentiments of the people, the support of the people was clear. There was no betrayal of the people. You might say he betrayed the party, fine. But he betrayed the people because clearly, demonstrably, they stuck with him and voted for him overwhelmingly in a mandate. So I think we need to be clear, Mr. Fedee, the difference between the two. Now, on the matter of the Labour Party walking out, I think again, Mr. Fedee, I know you're an intelligent man, there's a matter of principle and there's a matter of petty personal grudges, right? So on a matter of principle, my understanding is that the Labour Party felt that because of Mr. Snack's actions in the political arena... Are
you an official of the Labour Party, caller, may I ask?
I'm absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
I was just checking because you sound very informed about the deeper runnings of the Labour Party.
Yeah.
So
let me just
I was just very curious.
You have a chance to respond.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So what I was saying is that clearly there's a matter of principle where one could say he has a right to switch allegiance, but because of how he did it, because of the betrayal of the mandate that the people gave him, we do not think that he should be in that premier position of Governor General. It was a wrong message, a wrong precedent. And we all know, Mr. Fedee, that the practice has been for our Governor Generals, as far as possible, to be as politically neutral as possible. I mean, obviously, persons have political leanings and so on. But you would see from our record with Dame Paulette Louise and other Governor Generals who have served, that they were not political actors. They were not in the political fray and the thrust and the throw of politics, and at the very in the worst manner as Neville Snack was, if I may say so. Not personally, this is not a personal swipe against a distinguished son of the soil, but his actions politically, Mr. Fedee, I think is what the Labour Party took objection to him being made Governor General. That was the point, in case you missed it, that they're saying that this person, by way of their political practice, ought not to be made
the head of state, which where you want somebody who could be a rallying figure, who could be seen as, well, a head of state that could bring both sides together, like a Dame Paulette Louise. And the same concern was expressed when George Mallet was made Governor General by your party, Mr. Fedee, on the same basis, that we shouldn't have persons who are in active politics be placed in a position of Governor General, and that's why he was left there. And some might say tongue-in-cheek for spite, to read the speech where he had to be saying, my government, my government. Some people on the other side said that was cruel. Well, why would it be cruel? Because he's supposed to represent the state as head of state. But let me just wrap up, Mr. Fedee, by saying that the Labour Party walking out when Snack was delivering the throne speech was not a grudge. They don't hate him, as clearly is evidenced by the fact they have extended a state funeral to the family. So, I mean, these two things cannot hold together. Let's be sensible. Let's be logical, Mr. Fedee. Clearly, nobody in the Labour Party hierarchy holds any personal grudge against Mr. Snack. They objected to him being Governor General, given the history of his politics, right? And they walked out in protest over his appointment, and that's their due right, and I would say their responsibility to do that on the matter of principle. As to why Mr. Chasney walks out when Mr. Frederick is speaking and whatnot, I wouldn't get into that. That's for you to spin. But I'm saying to you, do not miss the point that there's a matter of principle related to taking a stand against an appointment, and an appointment that, as I said to you, Mr. Fedee, is different to anything about switching allegiances. Everybody have a right to switch allegiance, but the manner in which it was done was clearly anyway, I think I made the point.
Okay.
Good night.
All right, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you, Timothy, for your time.
Thank you so much.
You see, again, a very desperate attempt to compare an MP who finds the language, tone, and words of a fellow MP to be offensive and walking out in protest is totally different from walking out on the head of state. There's absolutely no comparison. Those two offices are completely different. And so, I mean, I was just chuckling as the caller was speaking. Seems to be someone who's close to the Labour Party, seems to be in the know. But caller, that's a very desperate attempt to try to mislead the people of St. Lucia on the issues here. They are clearly different.
I think because very often we hear it's not about the person, but it's all about the office.
The office.
To have some regard,
the office
some regards for the office.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that those 6 MPs who were opposition members had an obligation to the state, to the people of St. Lucia, to our constitution, to our parliament, to who we are as a country, to make sure that they respect that office, and they had to be big men and to set aside whatever differences were held. You're saying to me that if Stevenson King becomes the Governor General, I will walk out on him? I'll never do that if I am ever in Parliament again and he is the Governor General, because that would be completely wrong. I think my mom would be the first to call me to say, that's atrocious, right? So I think that we need to set a better example in our Parliament. When someone with the notoriety of the Governor General comes to address the Parliament, let's show some civility, let's show that we're together, and we would listen, and we would actually, so to say that you need someone who can rally the country, that's ludicrous to me. Sir Neville, by the time he was appointed as Governor General, had become very politically inactive for many, many years. And I mean, how long do you hold someone accountable for their past political deeds? I see that in places like the EU, Tim, you can actually apply for a contract, or you're free from the conflict of interest that is normally assigned to politicians. After 3 years of not being politically engaged, former members of the EU Parliament or prime ministers of or presidents of EU member states can then apply for contracts, and the code of conduct which governs the conflict of interest policy of organizations like the EU ceased to apply after 3 years. So Neville was really inactive for many years.
Let's take a final call.
I think he was very politically neutral. It was clear that it was still a grudge.
Final call. Good evening, Newsmaker Live. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening.
Go ahead, please, with your contribution.
Yes, good evening to your guest, Mr. Fedee. But there is something Mr. Fedee said tonight there. I believe a man of his caliber, it is of poor taste to refer to St. Lucia like this. He was describing Richard Frederick's action when it came to, somebody speaking and walking out. And then he made a comment that really didn't sit well with me. Regardless of whether I'm supporting the UWP or the SLP, I'm going to tell him that saying that only in St. Lucia that this thing happened, I believe he better take this thing back. Take that statement back, because this same St. Lucia he represented with honor. And he said only in St. Lucia. By the time he said that, I just swing up a red flag. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Want to address this?
Tim, I want to focus on St. Neville. Let's move on. Yeah.
Final comments from you? Because already.
Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure being with you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed myself. It's good to be here. I am absolutely intrigued by the calls that we've received tonight. I think it was sobering, and I want to say to you, thank you for facilitating the discussion. I think the people of St. Lucia, my final words will say is that they are really, Tim, under the crushing weight of high gas prices, under the crushing weight of electricity bills that have just gone up, and they're anxious about whether Wasco is going to go up as well. And cost of living has not come down since the aftermath of the COVID-19 inflation crisis. Those prices have not come back down. So the people of St. Lucia, Tim, they are under increasing pressures from the inflation situation which we face in the country. I want to thank you again and thank all the callers, and I want to end by extending condolences to the family of Sir Neville Snack, our Governor General, and I want to thank them for allowing him to serve this country in the way that he has. I certainly was blessed to have been part of his long journey of public service in the country. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fedee, for being my guest on this evening's Newsmaker Live. And to you, as always, thank you so much for watching and contributing via your calls and your discussion in the chat room. If it's Wednesday, it's Newsmaker Live. Time now for the clip that peaked.
Oh!
Once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Timothy Poleon, saying good night and see you next time.
I, Philip Joseph here.
I would like to be judged as being the Prime Minister, not being judged as being part of a government.
Came into government that we had a manifesto and a vision and mission that had been approved by my party, by the highest body.
Basel 11 has not been in existence. 50 was
giant getting bazooka, spraying big on to knock out mosquitoes.
I have never had a joint account with anybody in my life. Not my ex-wife, not my children, nobody. And I will refer that to the Privileges Committee.
What about the culture of people getting into office and not being effective? What people become Prime Minister of St. Lucia have been the most ready.
Let's do it this Wednesday, because if it's Wednesday, it's Newsmaker Live.